Chapter 1: Business, Trade and Commerce.
Question and answers.
1. Why is business considered as economic activity? Answer. A business is an economic activity as it is undertaken with the intention of making money or supporting oneself. It does not involve feelings of love, affection, or the like. It entails the production and sale of goods and services with the intention of making a profit by meeting social needs. 2. How does business contribute to the economic development of a country? Answer. The following are some of the ways in which the company contributes to the growth, stimulation, and stabilization of the economy. A. Increasing the economy's employment opportunities. B. Accelerate technological advancement. C. Solution to new challenges. D. Prolong competition. E. Putting money into people's demand. 3. State the different types of economic activities. Answer. We can make a living by engaging in economic activities. For example, a factory worker, a doctor at his clinic, an office manager, and a school teacher are all involved in economic activities to support their families. Business, profession, and employment are the three subsets of economic activities. Or business. Business is an economic activity that involves buying, producing, and selling goods and services with the goal of making money by meeting the needs of society's people. Profession. It is a business that requires specialized knowledge and skills to be used in the occupation. It needs to follow guidelines or code of conduct laid by respective professional bodies. Employment. It is an economic activity which requires people to work for others and remuneration or salaries, wages in return. Fourth, state the meaning of business. Answer. The economic activity of producing or procuring goods for resale with the sole purpose of earning profits is known as business. In order to satisfy human requirements, it entails providing these products and services on a regular basis. It could be a business or a non-profit that makes money or serves a social cause. 5. How would you classify business activities? Answer. Non-economic and economic business activities are two distinct categories. Non-economic activities are those that are performed out of love, sympathy, feeling, patriotism, and other emotions, whereas economic activities enable us to earn a living. For instance, a factory worker, a doctor at a clinic, a manager in an office, and a school teacher are all engaged in economic activity because they are all working for a living. There are three distinct categories of economic activity: business, employment, and professions. On the other hand, a woman preparing meals for her family or a boy assisting an elderly man crossing the street are performing non-economic tasks out of love or sympathy. 6. What are the various types of industries? Answer. Industries fall into three main categories. Primary industries. All of these businesses that deal with the production and extraction of natural resources or the growth and development of living things. Genetic or extractive industries are two examples of this type. Secondary industries. The utilization of materials that have already been extracted in their raw form is the subject of these. These businesses process these materials to make products for end users or for other businesses to process. Tertiary industries. All of these businesses that help primary and secondary industries by transporting goods, storing them, providing financing, etc. 7. Explain any two business activities which are auxiliaries to trade. Answer. A banking and finance. Without funds for the acquisition of assets, the purchase of raw materials and other costs, business activities cannot be carried out. A bank can provide necessary funds to business people. Consequently, banking aids businesses in overcoming financial obstacles. Commercial banks frequently lend money via overdraft and cash credit facilities, loans, and advances. Banks also take care of bill discounting, check collection, and sending payments to other locations. In international trade, commercial banks help exporters collect money from importers. Additionally, commercial banks assist business promoters in obtaining public funding. B. Transportation. It makes it possible to move raw materials from the extraction site to the producer or finished goods from factories to the consumption location using road, rail, or air transportation. 8. What is the role of profit in business? Answer. Profit gives the owner money, funds, and motivation for growth and expansion. It also serves as a measure of how well the business is doing and helps build its reputation. Or a business's starting point is an objective. Every business strives to achieve a set of objectives. The things that business people seek in return for what they do are referred to as objectives. There is a widespread perception that business is only about making money. Every business is stated to be an attempt by business people to make more money than they have spent or invested, or in other words, to make a profit, which is the difference between revenue and cost. Profit cannot be the company's only objective, but its significance cannot be overlooked. 9. What is meant by business risk? Answer. Uncertainty or unanticipated changes in the market pose a risk to a company's ability to make a profit or lose money. Uncertain events, the size and nature of the business, and the owner's reward for taking on risk all contribute to business risk. Or, the likelihood of experiencing low profits or even losses as a result of unanticipated or unknown circumstances is referred to as a business risk. For instance, a product's demand may decline as a result of shifting consumer preferences or increased competition from other providers. Lower demand results in longer sales and higher profits. 10th, state the causes of risks involved in business. Answer. Business risks arise due to a variety of causes, which are classified as follows. A. Economic causes, financial mismanagement. B. Human causes, inefficient operations. C. Natural causes, natural disasters or unexpected events. D. Other causes, lack of innovation. Long answer. Questions. 1. Discuss the development of indigenous banking system in Indian subcontinent. Answer. In ancient times, trade and commerce were a big part of making India a big player in the economy. Commercial hubs like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro emerged in the 3rd millennium BC. The civilization traded gold, silver, copper, colorful gemstones, beads, pearls, seashells, terracotta pots, and other goods with Mesopotamia. Metals thus began to supplement other commodities as money as economic life advanced due to their durability and divisibility. Because it was a means of exchange, the introduction and use of metallic money sparked economic activity. The documents known as hundi and chitti were used in transactions in which money was transferred from one person to another. The Indian subcontinent's currency of choice was the hunde. A contract was involved, which guaranteed that money, a promise, or an order will be fulfilled without condition. As banking developed, people began depositing precious metals, with lending individuals posing as bankers or seths. Money became a vehicle for providing producers with a means of manufacturing additional items. Business operations were made simpler by the availability of loans and advances as well as credit transactions. With exports outnumbering imports by a wide margin and the indigenous banking system providing manufacturers, traders, and merchants with additional capital funding for expansion and development, the Indian subcontinent reaped the benefits of a favorable trade balance. Agriculturists can borrow money from agricultural banks for both short and long-term financing. Commercial and industrial banks later arose to finance trade and commerce. Documents such as hundi and chitti were in use for carrying out transactions in which money passed from hand to hand. Hundi as an instrument of exchange was prominent in the subcontinent. Hundi is a written, unrestricted order directing another to pay a specified amount to a person named in the order. 2. Define business. Describe its important characteristics. Answer. A business is an economic activity that involves buying, producing, and selling goods and services, with the goal of making money by meeting the needs of society's people. It can be an organization for profit or not for profit. The characteristics of a business are: Business and economic activity. Business is considered as an economic activity because it is undertaken to earn money for livelihood and not for any sentimental reasons. By providing goods and services for mutual profit, it meets human needs. Business can be conducted on an individual or organized level, on a small or large scale. Production or procurement of goods and services. By manufacturing or producing goods, businesses supply goods to meet human needs, acquiring either consumer goods or capital goods, offering banking, transportation, electricity, and other services. Sale or exchange of goods and services. The transfer or exchange of goods and services for a value between sellers and buyers is the basis of business. A business activity cannot involve the production or purchase of goods for personal consumption. Dealing in goods and services on regular basis. An economic activity must be carried out on a regular basis in order to qualify as a business. One single transaction does not constitute business. For e.g., a car dealer buys and sells cars on regular basis. A used car exchanged for a new one or sold for cash is not a business activity. Profit motive. One of a business activity's main goals is to make money. Business earns profit not only to cover its costs, but also for survival and future growth. Profit is the yardstick to measure the success of a business. Therefore, businessmen make all possible efforts to maximize profits by increasing the volume of sales or reducing costs. 3. Compare business with profession and employment. Answer. The following explains how business, profession, and employment are different. For define industry. Explain various types of industries giving examples. Answer. The economic operations that involve the transformation of raw materials into products that can be used are referred to as industries. Example. Electronic industry would include all firms producing electronic goods. Products for a variety of uses are produced as a result of industrial activities. There are 3 broad categories for these. 1. Primary industry encompasses all activities associated with the reproduction and development of plants, animals, and other living things, as well as the extraction and utilization of natural resources. These industries can be further classified into 2 categories. A. Extractive industries. B. Genetic industries. 2. Secondary industry encompasses all activities associated with the utilization of raw materials that have already been extracted during the primary stage. These businesses go through the process of processing such materials in order to produce goods that can be consumed immediately or used by other businesses for further processing. Secondary industries can be further classified into the following categories. A. Manufacturing industries. By processing and transforming raw materials into finished goods, these businesses produce goods. They produce a variety of finished goods that we consume or use by converting raw materials or partially finished materials in their manufacturing activities. Building construction industries. These businesses are involved in the construction of structures such as buildings, dams, bridges, roads, tunnels, and canals. Skills in engineering and architecture are essential in the construction industry. 3. Tertiary industry encompasses all trade-related activities as well as services to primary and secondary industries that support them. It is also referred to as the service sector. The following service facilities are provided by tertiary industry. in an effort to remove various obstacles that arise during the production and distribution of goods and services. 1. Insurance. It serves as a safeguard against diverse risk factors. 2. Transport. It streamlines the movement of goods. 3. Warehousing. It stores goods to make it easier to get them to the market when they're needed. 4. Banking. It provides credit and financing for a variety of business endeavors. Describe the activities relating to commerce. Answer. Activities in commerce fall into two categories: trade and auxiliaries to trade. Trade. The purchase and sale of goods and services with the intention of making a profit is known as trade. It's an important part of business. It aids in making the produced goods accessible to final users or consumers. Without trade, producers and consumers will have to look for each other, making it impossible to carry out large-scale production activities. Small-scale commerce is possible. Trade removes this hindrance of person by creating a link between producers and consumers. The persons who are engaged in trade are known as traders or middlemen. Auxiliaries to trade. It's used to talk about things that help businesses trade by making it easier to buy and sell goods. Because they serve to facilitate trade and industry-related activities, these activities are typically referred to as services. Because they support trade, transportation, banking, insurance, warehousing, and advertising are considered auxiliaries. Trade and industry both benefit from these activities. As a result, auxiliaries play a crucial role in every aspect of business operations. Auxiliaries to trade helps in removing various hindrances which arise in production and distribution of goods. 6. Explain any 5 objectives of business. Answer. The following should be the business's objectives: physical and financial resources. In order to produce and deliver goods and services to their customers, every business requires both financial resources, such as funds, and physical resources, such as plant, machinery, etc. Every company must aim to acquire these resources in accordance with its needs and use them effectively. Market standing. Market standing refers to the position of an enterprise in relation to its competitors. For example, position of Airtel in relation to Vodafone Idea. A business enterprise must aim to increase its market standing by offering good quality products at reasonable prices and serving them better than competitors. Making a profit. The primary objective of every business is to make money with the money invested. In this competitive world, every business strives for a respectable profit in order to survive and expand. Innovation. It is essential to the expansion of any business. It gives businesses a competitive advantage in the market and helps them grow. In this competitive world, innovations are very important for a business enterprise to flourish. Productivity. By comparing the value of inputs and outputs, productivity can be determined. It is used to evaluate effectiveness. Every business enterprise must aim to achieve greater productivity through best possible use of available resources. 7. Explain the concept of business risk and its causes. The possibility of earning inadequate profits or losses as a result of unforeseen or unanticipated circumstances is known as business risk. It can happen when demand for a particular product declines due to increased competition or changes in customer preferences. Because customer preferences can change, it's hard to know for sure. Business risk is divided into 2 forms: pure business risk and speculative business risk. 1. Pure business risk. In this type of risk, there is a chance of losses or no loss whatsoever. Such risk can be associated with theft, various natural calamities, and fire. 2. Speculative business risk. This risk carries a 50-50 chance of either profit or loss and can stem from factors like policy changes by the government, moves by competitors, price variations, or changes in consumer choices. The following causes business risk are discussed below. 1. Economic causes. They include the possibility of losing money due to changes in the market. These factors include the risk of a shift in demand and supply, a shift in market competition, price shifts, a shift in production technology or method, a shift in customer fashion, taste or preferences, and other factors. It also includes financial issues like borrowing at high interest rates and raising taxes, among other things. 2. Natural causes. Natural causes are beyond the control of human beings. Natural calamities like flood, earthquake, lightning, heavy rains, famine, etc. can lead to huge losses. They result in significant losses of life, property, and business income. Human beings cannot make any preparation against natural causes, as they are uncertain factors. 3. Human causes. These are caused by negligence on the part of humans, like carelessness, riots, and strikes are some examples. Other causes. There are some events that are unpredictable, such as political disturbances, interest, and exchange rate fluctuations. 8. What factors are to be considered while starting a business? Explain. Before getting into business, it's common practice for businesses to check everything. Consider the following important factors. Business selection. The entrepreneur must decide what kind of business they want to start. The potential for growth, technical expertise, and personal interest in the product or service should all be taken into consideration. Ownership model. The entrepreneur must select the appropriate ownership structure, such as a partnership, sole proprietorship, or joint stock company. Factors like capital requirements, liability of owners, profit sharing, and transferability of interest should be considered. Operational facilities. Availability of necessary physical facilities, including machinery, equipment, buildings, and supportive services, must be ensured. The nature, size, and financial capacity of the acquired physical resources influence the choice. Tax planning. To reduce their tax liabilities, entrepreneurs must take into account their tax obligations under various tax laws and engage in legal and ethical tax planning. Setting up the business. The entrepreneur can move on to launching the business, which entails mobilizing resources, completing legal requirements, beginning production, and launching activities to promote sales once the aforementioned decisions have been made. Factory layout. Taking into account the scale of operation and the acquired physical resources, a layout plan illustrating the arrangement of physical facilities should be designed. Size of operations. The size of the firm should be determined based on factors like anticipated demand, available skills, and capital. If there is confidence in high demand, starting on a large scale may be appropriate, while smaller or medium-sized operations may be preferred in uncertain market conditions. Area. It is essential to select the ideal location for the business. Factors like availability of raw materials, labor, infrastructure, and supportive services such as banking, transportation, and communication should be taken into account. Funding. For the startup and ongoing operations of the company, sufficient capital must be secured. Planning your finances should take into account investments in both current and fixed assets to figure out how much money is needed. Qualified staff. Hiring and retaining competent and committed employees is crucial for the success of a business. When it comes to efficiently converting resources into the desired outputs, human resources play a crucial role.